So if you're watching this video, you're a candidate who's been invited to a behavioural interview recorded on video. You might be wondering, what is this and how do I prepare for it? So this video is designed to give you a briefing on how best to prepare and what to expect. First of all, what is a behavioural interview? We're looking for you to talk about a specific example of when you've been in a certain situation at work. All you need to do is to talk about where you're working, so the context. I was working at ABC Limited. It was 6 months ago and this is what was happening. So just give us that context, that situation of what was happening. Then talk through the specific actions that you took in that situation. That's what we want to know about. And the best thing is to just tell us what happened. The worst thing to do is to try and second guess what the interviewer is looking for, because you might be talking about other things when actually they might want to hear what you're talking about, what you actually did. Then talk about the result, what happened in the end. So think of it as you're telling a story of something that happened. Imagine you're telling a friend or somebody, this is something that happened at work and this is what I did. It's really important to avoid talking about hypotheticals, what you might normally do or what you think people should do, or be general to say, I normally do this. That doesn't help the interviewer. So this method is called the CAR method or the STAR method, context, action, result, or situation, task, action, result. What we're trying to do with this video is to give you the best chance to prepare, but of course you're not going to know what questions the interviewer is going to ask. So if you practice answering those questions in that style, that's helpful, but bear in mind that you can't prepare all the answers to what's going to be asked. What's important with your examples is to provide one example per question. So really think about what is the most appropriate one to talk about. Feel free to take your time. You can take a few moments to consider what you would like to say. In terms of where you can draw those examples from, try to think of recent examples because you're going to remember the detail a lot better that way. It doesn't need to be from the one employer, but it can be from the one employer, particularly if you've been there for a long time. When you provide the example, the interviewer may ask probing questions, and that's just to flesh out some of the detail of what took place. We don't necessarily expect you to talk through absolutely everything we need, so we may ask further questions to gain that information. Bear in mind the interviewer will also be taking notes. They may not always be looking at you, they're just noting down some key things that you're saying. In terms of preparing for the actual interview on Zoom, is that you should download the program, test it out, test out your microphone, test out the camera. Find a place that is quiet so that you're not going to be distracted. In terms of feedback from the interview, you won't get feedback in the interview. This will be provided by the person who conducted your phone interview, who's been coordinating with you along the way. They'll give you feedback on the behavioural interview several days later. Any questions about the role should also be directed towards the person who you conducted the phone interview with. The person who's conducting the behavioural interview understands the role, but they may not know the nitty-gritty details that the other person would understand. What's important to know is that by participating in this interview, you're giving permission to have it recorded. You'll also be asked for permission at the start, and the Zoom program will also ask for your permission. We store these videos in a secure location that's password protected. Okay, so I hope you found this video useful. Best of luck with the next stage of the process.